like that. So that's why I've been
I was
trying to
doing
be
that.
conscious.
I was doing that before I was. I mean, I was doing that stuff before I was at work all the time. Nowadays, like whatever time I get home, like generally I turn on the TV and then I'm either googling stuff or I'm recording something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like
for sure.
so.
Yeah, I'll get to where I'll want to watch something on TV, but I'll start watching it on TV and I'll realize that I want to be on my phone more than I want to watch what's going on,
Yeah.
but I want to do both. Which I don't
Well,
know.
what I've been realizing is like going through Facebook, like I like, and this is something that's been huge to me for the past couple of months. Is that like while I go through Facebook and like things, I realize that I'm seeing the same like 15 memes for 2 months, and then I'm like, why do I keep checking Facebook? Because I'm just looking at the same thing over
Yeah,
and over again. So a lot of times I'll open Facebook and then I'm like, like instantly I just shut it off because I'm like, I
yeah.
just looked at it
It's
10
like
minutes
Sports
ago.
Center. It's like
Same
Sports Center.
thing.
Once you watch an hour of Sports Center and it starts to repeat itself, just change the channel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time to move on with life. But it's funny that that we're talking about how we would rather, and I don't know if you are as bad as I am about it, but I will literally
I'm
just
sure I am.
I'll spend so much time on my phone, dude, when I'm watching TV. Like it's almost hard for me to watch something without also scrolling through Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
So what's funny is what I wanted to talk about in this episode, and we talked about it a little bit back and forth over the last couple of days, but so I have a really bad scalp. Like my hair, like my scalp is really bad, dry skin and dandruff and shit.
Yeah.
And I don't really talk about it a lot because it's really like I'm self conscious about it. It bothers me. And one
Yeah.
day I was sitting at the bar scratching my head and like got dandruff on my phone, like disgusting. Ready? Are you ready to gross yourself out, world?
Yeah.
But I got dandruff all over my phone, and I cleaned my phone off, walked to the bathroom to like look at my scalp in the mirror, walked back out, opened my phone, and got on Instagram. And like the first post that I see on Instagram is an ad for this like shampoo brush. It's like a shampoo head massager brush thing that like gets it in, and it's like for dandruff, for dry
Yeah.
scalp. It's like all and like I'm sitting in my house by myself. I'm not narrating what I'm doing or anything. Like
Yeah.
that shit freaked me out, dude. I mean, I bought the thing,
Yeah.
but but
It worked.
yeah, but have you had anything like that where you like something that comes up from your text messages or pulls it from just random like that artificial intelligence just tries to sell you things? Do you have that a lot?
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, through text message, yeah. I will absolutely. I know. I texted my wife the other day, or not the other day. This was a couple months ago, but I texted her about this guitar that I wanted. I found an incredible deal on this one, this Epiphone guitar, and it looked like the one from Back to the Future.
No,
And
yeah.
I've been thinking about getting, wanting to get a hollow body electric. And I texted her and I was like, I sent her a picture of it. And I was like, check this out. Let's get this Epiphone, blah blah blah. It's for, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, dude, 2 days later, like, I swear, in scrolling through Facebook, like during my lunch break, I saw an advertisement for Guitar Center and Sweetwater Music, all advertising this guitar for like $600, and I'm like, I didn't actually like look it up. I just texted my wife about it. You know what I mean? Like I
Dude,
didn't
they're
actually
trying to get
Google
us.
it. You know what though? It's funny, and I like for me, if the CIA or whoever is listening in, well, if they're listening to me, they're going to be bored. I mean, if somebody were to come to me and say, if a CIA agent showed up at my door and was like, "We've been listening to you," I'd look him right in the face and just be like, "Oh yeah, what did you find out?" Like,
yeah,
what are you here for?
What's your big break, buddy?
Yeah, like
what am I guilty
what are you
of?
Here for? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like, because I don't even, because let's face it, if you say, anybody can say, I like or dislike whatever the president or the presidential candidate is.
Yeah.
Everybody has those thoughts. I mean,
oh, for sure.
You know, and
I don't even think that's a blip on the map anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Especially as weird as it's gotten now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and we have certain friends on Facebook. I have no names, but you know, they get on there and they talk shit all the time. Like, they're not going to jail.
Fed up with that. I get so fed up with that, man. Like, people that we know.
It gets a little extensive sometimes, and I'm like, I'm not saying that I disagree with what they have to say, but I'm like, okay,
time and a place.
We get it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm like, we get it. You've been barking this tree like 25 times a day for 6 months. We get it.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
I've unfriended 2 people in the history of my Facebook life, like, for real, over this anyway, over posting a presidential shit. It's well, we get it. We get it. But yeah, if the NSA or CIA or whoever may be listening to whatever. But, and before I say what I'm about to say, I will preface that by saying, out there in the world, I think I can quote Peter Hitchens, which he says that if you think that your phone is not listening to every single word that you say, then you are definitely mistaken. So,
yeah.
Whoever it is that may be listening, I don't think that they give a shit anymore about people saying things about the president, because that's just too large of a group to try to filter. There's so many people that are saying shit about that. But yeah, I get so sick of seeing these people who just waste every minute of their day into trying to tell me that everything that President Trump is doing is the wrong thing, or that everything President Trump is doing is the right thing. I don't care which way they're leaning.
Exactly.
It's just so annoying.
Mm-hmm. And and you have those people out there too who, like, it seems like their intention, like, they make posts and it's like the intention is nobody has said anything to you. You just made a post to start a fight.
Yes, exactly.
And I get that you're trying to make a point, and your point is probably 100% valid. But there was no need for the bullshit you just started.
Yeah, that's not necessary. People don't understand. I don't think that they're realizing that their words actually do carry weight, and there's nothing worse than somebody who just want a troll. There's nothing worse than a troll.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it. Why? What's the point of that? Why do these people think that it's necessary to just bother somebody? That's a childish thing. It's like a kid that just won't stop saying, "I know you are, but what am I?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the biggest things is, though, as you just said, they think that their words don't carry weight. Well, a lot of them, at least a couple of them that I know, they believe that their words do carry weight, and that's why they do it. And I'm like, okay,
you're not that important, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm like, dude, number one, you're not that important. Number two, you can spout all the shit that you want to, but the thing is. Like, I've stated at this point, as far as politics go, I don't know enough about politics. Everybody always says that it's important that everybody votes. Well, I'm gonna respectfully disagree, because if I went and voted, that would be a bad thing because I would be uneducated.
Okay, I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, and the thing is, I could educate myself, but here's the problem. Number one, I can go talk to 15 different people.
Yeah.
And every single one of them can have a different opinion about, about who and what. And you know what? All 15 of those people will probably have a valid point that I agree with. But each one of them will have differing opinions about either the president or who's about to run or who is running or whatever. But those points all seem valid to me. So therefore, but then, people are like, go look it up. So then I go to the internet and I go and look it up. And you know what? I'm going to find 15 different posts saying the same shit that those fucking people are saying. And everybody's like, well, it's been proven. Why? You know what? It's been proven on the internet that somebody has shaken a hand with a ghost too. And not saying it's not there, but what proof does the internet have that someone, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What is the internet any different from talking to somebody?
Now when you're talking about when you're having a conversation with people, you mean talking to them in person? Like if you see 15 different people in person, you'll be able to figure out something that you see eye to eye with, or you can level with them on at least one subject, or are you talking about it on
absolutely.
Facebook?
No. I'm talking about face to face. I can sit with 15 different people face to face, and somebody will tell me Trump did this and he did blah blah blah, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. And then somebody will come to me later and be like, Trump did this. And I'm like, well, that sounds terrible. Then somebody's like, well, blah, blah, blah did this. And he's thinking he wants to do this. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. And somebody's like, well, that person, blah, 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 blah did this. And I'm like, well, that sounds horrible. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, for sure. But you get a better read of what people mean, their intentions when you're looking at them rather than speaking to them on Facebook.
Right. But when they tell me, I'm like, well, but what about, because this person said this, and they're like, oh, well, they're full of shit. Look it up. Well, I go and
Google
look it up,
bro.
Yeah, well, I go and look it up, and there's 15 different articles with opposing views about the same thing, and I'm like, what? So, at what point, with me being uneducated, what can I look up now to give me the answer that I need? A proven answer that I need.
Now,
and for me personally, with the amount of education that I would need, I'd rather spend that time hanging out with my wife or my daughter or recording some music or something.
Certainly.
Like, at this point now, I'm 36. So what, it would take me months to get educated enough to know exact amounts.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
and that's my personal stance on it. I'm not saying.
Now, is that something that you're interested in? Do you feel interested in, or say not necessarily politics, but just like on the local level, so that you can know what your actual vote goes to, like on a local level? Is that any kind of interest to you?
I'm interested in it, but again, as much as I work and as little as I get to see my wife and as little as I get to spend like writing or recording music, I'm like, I got things, there's things that I
bigger fish to fry.
I'd rather be happy rather than, I'd rather be happy hanging out with my wife or record music or something like that rather than being like, dude, okay, it's time to study for something that, you know.
I hear that 100%. That's an honorable thing to say. A lot of people won't say that. A lot of people will just pretend that they know what they're, they'll pretend that they know what they're talking about, and all of a sudden you're 20 minutes into a conversation when you realize this dude is just telling me everything that he heard on the news today.
Yeah. Or, they're telling me the highlights of this person. Like this is what this person did good, but then I turn around and hear from somebody else, well, this motherfucker did this and that. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
One of you guys are lying to me.
Well, either that or at the same time, like for me, it's like I could go and vote for somebody because I think this, and that, and this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
But then I look on the other side and I'm like, but wait a minute, though. This bad shit, it almost outweighs
And you have to be really careful too about where you get this information from, because like you'll look at the same story being covered on two different news stations,
telling opposing views.
exactly.
Or maybe not even opposing views, but trying to give, well, let's just say alternative facts to the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
be getting different sides of the story, and it's, you know, one sounds fantastic, the other one sounds murderous, and you're like, well, I wasn't there. How do I know what actually happened?
Dude, that was my whole opinion on the Brett Kavanaugh situation. Where are you familiar with that at all?
A little bit. I know. I personally, I feel like I know enough. I don't know that much, but I feel like I know enough to know that I wasn't there.
Exactly. That was my whole point on that. And everybody's like, "Oh, which way do you fall on this? Like, where do you lean?" And anytime you have an opinion that you put out there, often people are going to want to know how you view pretty hot topics. And that was a really hot topic. And my response was, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know these people. All I know is what the media is telling me. And can I trust that? Who knows? I really don't know whether I can or not, but that's beside the point. The main point is that I wasn't there and I don't know.
Exactly. And I mean, and I really hate to kind of bring this one up, but people try to compare it to the Bill Cosby thing.
Ooh.
And now, to me, and this is a personal opinion. I ain't trying to, whatever. But in my opinion, people are like, they're trying to compare the two stories, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, didn't he confess? We didn't just say, well, we heard two sides of the story, and this is what we're doing. Bill said, I did it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he might have. Yeah, I think he might have fessed up to a few of those.
Yeah, I mean, so therefore, I mean, and now granted,
but don't quote me on that.
No. I mean, and same here. Like, I'm going off of things I've heard, things I've read, talking to people or reading on it. So therefore, like that's where my thought process comes in. Is I'm like, well, if he admitted to it, then well, you can't really argue that. But I'm not saying whether Brett did it or didn't. Like you said, I wasn't there. I don't know. Now, if somebody told me there was a DNA test that proved it, I'd be like, well, then it needs to be dealt with. But did they find that? I haven't heard about them finding it, and maybe I'm wrong. But
here's the thing: it happened. Whatever it was that happened in the Brett Kavanaugh situation happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago, when he was in high school at a high school party. And I mean, we've both been to high school parties. We know what goes on in situations like that. Yeah. We it's whether or not, like, there was a situation where and I'm sure you've got a very similar situation of a girl that you heard of who went to this party and had a good time with a few guys, and then there was all of a sudden the thing comes out later on that she was raped by an entire basketball team or whatever have you, when alcohol and all the other situations are involved in this case or this particular circumstance, which she was all about everything that was going on until people start talking about it, and then she gets embarrassed, and then all of a sudden the story changes, and the lives of, say, 5 or 6 dudes are over because of a random allegation that they quote unquote gang raped somebody. And I know this took a really dark turn. I'm sorry for that, but
no, it's all good.
But like you've heard stories like that go down. I'm sure,
dude. There was a girl I dated. I will not say any names, but there was a girl that I dated that while we were dating, she went to go hang out with a guy. She did it behind my back, but she called me from his house saying that he must have put something in her drink because she woke up with her pants down. and she was freaking out. She had me talk to her while she snuck out of his house, and she drove to my house. And I was so pissed off at this guy. I was so mad. He ended up messaging me on MySpace. This,
So it was that long ago.
Yes, that
we don't
long
want to
ago.
date ourselves.
Yeah. So, but he ended up messaging me on MySpace because he kept trying to text her after that.
Yeah.
He ended up messaging me like 2 weeks later, and he was like, "Look, dude," he's like, "you seem like a really cool guy." He's like, "I'm glad that she found you." He's like, He's like, she and I were dating for a little bit. He's like, and he's like, and then I guess she found you, and that's what's up. He's like, but she kept coming over to my house. He's like, I still thought we had something. He's like, and I'm sorry that. He's like, I'm sorry that we did that to you that night. He's like, I'm messaging you because I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a human being about this, and I want to tell you that I'm sorry. He was apologizing for raping. He was apologizing that she cheated on me that night.
Yeah.
That they cheated on me. And I went to her and I was like, what is this? And she's like, he's trying to cover his tracks. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get that. Well, then after she and I broke up, they went back to dating. Now, if I'm not mistaken,
you wouldn't want to date somebody that raped you.
Yeah. I mean, and he still tried to send her like Christmas presents and stuff, like while we were together, like tried to secretly send her Christmas presents and stuff. And I'm like, okay, now if he's crazy, if he raped you, he's crazy. Okay, he's trying to send her Christmas. That's messed up. But when we broke up, and she's friends with him now, I'm like, okay. And I tried to get her to call the cops. She wouldn't do it at the time,
There's your first.
No,
there's your first sign.
Well, a lot of them will tell you though, and I believe that they're scared. They don't want that whole.
Yeah,
situation.
You're right. I spoke too soon on that.
Well, no, I mean, but you're right though. I mean, but that's one of those things though, where you kind of don't know. You don't know what to think because. Is it a red flag, or is it that they're scared? There's no way to know. You weren't there.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the point to where you see that they're dating again, or they're friends and they're hanging out on a regular basis, I wouldn't imagine that if somebody drugged you and you all of a sudden lost 3 hours of your life and you woke up with your pants down, I'm not imagining that you want to be buddy-buddy with that person.
Yeah, but see, you know what? It sucks too because for every situation that there is like that, where it's literally just someone who's trying to lie to get themselves out of, to take blame off of themselves.
Yeah.
Then for every one of those situations, there's another one where a guy's like, oh, this, what girls will do, how conniving they are when he actually did it. And that's where the gray area comes into play. And that's so sad that we have to worry about things like that in this day and age. But
it really is, man. And that's one of those things, like, how do you sort out the liars? Because you can't. Because when that sort of situation happens, either a rape or a cheat or an I wish I hadn't done this, nobody else was there.
That's right.
Nobody else was in that room.
It's literally your word against the other person's, and who can be trusted in this situation?
Exactly, and you can't say that one person is more credible than the other because one person's a nice person, or because one person is a particular gender, or whatever. Like you can't you can't say that this person's right because that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, wonder what the turning point of getting to this day and age where we are now, where even people who can't listen to a simple Christmas song.
Oh man.
And
that song's been a topic for me for the past. Well, me and some buddies for like the past 3 years.
Yeah.
That particular song, we used to laugh. We were like, man. what does this song say? What does it sound like he's doing? You know, we were laughing, but like, man, it's a flirt. What
Yeah.
guy has? What guy isn't having a date with, or what person, guy or girl, is having an amazing date and then doesn't want that date to end? So you're like, hey, why don't you hang around? Nowhere in that song does it make it sound like that girl was forced
Yeah, that's the thing
to be.
is if you listen to it, with, I guess, aged ears, you'll see that it's just a game. It's that tennis match between the two of them where
Yeah,
it's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to win this game. And then she's like, no, I'm going to win this game. When they both know that they want the same ending. Both of them want to do the
exactly,
same thing.
exactly.
And people can't understand that. And we're listening to think like, for instance, if you do you remember Goodfellas? You remember the song in Goodfellas? Pretend. Oh shit.
I think
Oh,
I know
don't
what you're
you know
talking
the song
about.
I'm talking about? It's one of the songs in Goodfellas that has a line in it that says, "Pretend you don't see her, my heart. Just smile and pretend to be gay."
Yeah,
Obviously, we say that now and we'd giggle.
yeah,
But when we were kids, we giggle and say that because the word means something differently now than it
yeah.
did when it was written.
But now
And
we can't even giggle about it, though.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean that might not have been the best example. Well, actually, that is a pretty decent
No,
example
but you're
because
exactly right, though. You're
yeah,
exactly right because we there was the time frame where we giggled about it. Now we giggle about it, but you got to kind of keep it on the down. You know what I mean?
yeah, like
Like
when
you
a
can't.
girl says in the song, "What's in this drink?" Like
Yeah,
these days, because we've been the Spanish flies and the roofies and the
yeah,
whole era of all that shit.
yeah,
We know about things like that, but back then, what's in this drink was a nod to say, oh, hold on, what are you trying to do? What are you
yeah.
is or are you trying to
Are
get
you?
me
Yeah,
drunk or
yeah, exactly.
that was
But
just like a
not even.
playful thing to say.
But not even like the bad. Are you trying to get me drunk? It's the playful. Like,
Yes,
are you
yes,
trying to get me drunk?
yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Like, are
because we both
are
know
you
what's going to
flirting with
happen
me?
if you get me drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly what's happening. And all of this, why all the while that all of this is going on, our phones are listening to us.
yeah. And you're absolutely right.
And the whole
But
time,
I would have to say at this point though, I'd have to say with shit like this though, I'd have to say the CIA is probably getting a good laugh out of everything.
well, do you think that they can? Do you think that they can laugh about situations like for all of the things that they have to hear? Think about the collective mood
Well,
of the country.
but think of, in my personal opinion, I think that's something that they can laugh at because think of all the things that they could be hearing that is not in our circle of friends.
Yeah.
Think about think about the horrible things that they could be hearing, the things that they're listening for. They're not
Yes.
listening for if somebody's offended about something. They're listening to
For people
who's
who are,
watching, who's doing what on the internet and what's,
yep, dark webbers,
yeah,
people
you
screaming at
know,
their wives or husbands.
yeah, or, I mean, or even, like even, you hate to think about this stuff, but even like the darker sides of the internet, the really, the kid stuff and all that,
Yeah.
they're
We're
listening for that, dude. They don't care who's offended about what somebody said,
Oh yeah,
you
for sure.
know.
They're not listening to that shit. But all the while, what's so funny is I think about back in those times. That song was written in 1944.
Yep.
So in that era, the greatest technology. Like if you would have told who was it? Who did that song? Was it Dean Martin and Shit.
Dean Martin made it popular. I can't remember the exact names, but I think they were kind of no-namers. The
Yeah.
people who wrote it, they wrote it because they were about to host a Christmas party.
It was a married
and that
couple.
was going to be the last song to let everybody know it was time to go home.
Yeah, exactly. So when they wrote that song, the radio or the television might have existed then, right? Was it the television? Yeah, because the 30s was
Yeah.
Disney. So the television was probably the highest technological advancement of that time, right? Probably.
Yeah, gotta be.
If you would have told old boy and old girl that wrote that song in 1944 that eventually this sweet little back and forth song of this game that guys and girls play with each other, one day there's going to be people who are going to be so offended by this song that they're not going to be able to play it on the radio. And not only that, they're going to have a TV in their pockets that can hear everything that they say at all times and constantly records them. They would call you an absolute liar.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I mean, right off the bat, I'm imagining myself if they wrote the song and then they showed it to their buddy, like the next day, and they were like, "We're gonna do this at the party. What do you think?" And then their buddy was like, "Well, somebody might take this the wrong way." I would imagine their response would be, "Well, how could they take it?"
Yeah. Because back then,
What do you mean? Like what do you mean they could take it?
it was somebody so eloquently and throughout Christmas too. And what's funny is it's not a Christmas song.
Right. It's about yeah.
There's nothing in it
absolutely
about
right.
Santa Claus or Christmas or anything. It's just cold. It's about it being
It's
cold.
cold outside.
Like what's so funny is they so eloquently define or drew out that game that guys play with girls or girls play with guys. It's that whole back and forth banter of pre-courtship that everybody dealt with back then.
Dude, to me, I've always thought of it as it was the end of the perfect date. The date that you don't want to end. You finally asked that girl out. She said yes, and then it was a magical night. And then she's like, "Well, I guess it's time for me to go." And then he's like, "Well, it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside."
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he's like, "Man, this night is perfect. I don't want this to end." You know what I mean? That's the way I always took it, is that it's the end of the perfect date and you don't want it to end. What can we do to keep this night going?
And obviously the guy, he's a competitive dude because we're competitive people. We're a competitive animal. He wants to win. He wants to win this game. Like it's most certainly a game. And for those for the people who think, oh, something that serious cannot be thought of as a game, bullshit. It's a game.
It's a game, and you know what? She was playing along, or she would have said, or he would have been like, "Well, baby, it's cold outside." She'd been like, "I got a jacket."
Yeah, I got a jacket. I'm independent. Shoes on my feet. I bought them. Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. I have a heater in my car. Yeah, like I'll be fine.
Yeah, she's good. See, that's the thing. I've done an episode about this, and I didn't want to waste too much time on this, but this is too good of a content to not talk about. But dude, like the funniest thing is that if she really wanted to leave, she would have said, "I really can't stay, but baby, it's cold outside. I've got to go away, but baby, it's cold outside. It really has been so very nice." Blah, blah, blah. She would have started saying, "Okay, I'm getting out of here now." She's just consistently making excuses as to why she has to leave.
Yeah.
But she's like telling him, this person wants me to leave. This person will think this about me. This person won't like what I'm doing. But she leaves out herself. She never says how she would feel about staying or leaving.
Exactly, because
Because
she
she
doesn't
wants
want
to. She wants to stay.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's part of the game that you just mentioned is
Yeah.
the fact that you can't in that game. You're not supposed to show your interest. You're supposed to act like you have a reason to get out. That way, that leaves that person begging for more. The guy being like, "But baby, it's cold outside. Why don't you come on? Please don't leave."
Yeah.
And she's, and she's like, but you're right. She never says, I need to leave because I don't want to be here, or because I think you're a creep,
You
or
have
because
made
I
me
think
uncomfortable.
weird.
I need to leave.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
vibe never enters that song.
She's trying to find excuses for. She's trying to find excuses
To stay.
What?
Or yeah. She's trying to, well, not to stay. She's trying to find excuses for him to slip up and say, okay, we'll go home, because that would mean that she would win.
Yeah.
She's won the game then. If he's like, he's like, okay, I quit. I surrender. Game over.
Yeah.
And then she'll probably stay anyway, but.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, yeah. As soon as if he'd have been like, well, it's cold outside, and she'd have been like, okay, I'll stay. He'd have been like, well, it's getting kind of late.
Yeah. It's getting kind of late. I gotta get up early in the morning. I got things to do.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be like, baby, it's cold outside. She'd be like, okay, I can stay. He's like, well, I've just meant that I got another jacket that I can give you.
Would you like me to walk you home?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's what they would do then. Allow me to walk you home. Make sure you get there safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old, that was the 40s game. That was a pitch and woo back then.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it too. Back then, now I'm not saying that dirty shit didn't happen back in the 40s, but
Certainly.
I mean, I'm sure it did. I don't know anything about it, but the thing is back then there were a lot more morals and manners and shit like that back then. A lot less. If people are offended by it now because of what if that situation happened today. Now it'd be fucked up. There'd probably be some fucked ups. You know what I mean? There'd probably be something fucked up going on. But back then, it's not what was happening.
Yeah, I've said several times on Facebook comments, you can't listen to the vintage. You can't listen to those songs with modern ears. You can't listen to those things with our understanding of the world today, because we're in a different world today than they were in then. And this is not This is not the same situation. These people did not mean what you are hearing.
And on top of that, I mean, and to think about it this way too is, I mean, let's face it. If that song had actually been about a dirty story like that, I highly doubt it would have gotten out, and especially to someone like Dean Martin and whoever else had recorded it. You know what I mean? Like it would have, if it would have been a bad situation, it wouldn't be looked at as a Christmas song. It would be. Or even, you know what I mean, whatever Christmas or whatever kind of song, it would just be like, okay, we might not want to put this out because this was a bad thing that happened. It would be like Charles Manson songs now, like a lot of, not that he wrote anything bad, but people listen to Charles Manson songs because they're like, Charles Manson did some fucked up shit. What kind of music did he write?
Charles Manson was a fantastic songwriter, by the way.
He really was. Yeah, he really was. But I mean, I don't know that many people that, I mean, like not hating on anybody, but I don't know that many people that are just like, they have the Charles Manson records like hanging out in their playlist. Like they listen to it for novelty. But the Baby It's Cold Outside, that's not a novelty song. It's a good tune.
It's my favorite. I say it's my favorite Christmas song because I'm not a fan of like Christmas songs, but that's my favorite wintertime season song because of Will Ferrell and Zooey Deschanel, bro. I'm in love with Zooey Deschanel for my entire life.
Oh yeah,
but she's it, man. But I know we mentioned that we wanted to keep this one a little shorter today. I know you gotta get off of here pretty soon. So I really I'm glad we went on the tangent that we went on with what we talked about, because that was really good content. But I really want to reiterate what I said in the beginning about how creeped out I am that my phone not listening to me say anything, not listening to me text about anything or talk to anybody about anything or message somebody about anything, but literally just scratching my head. Like, that means that my camera saw me scratching my head, scratching my scalp, and then pointed me towards a product that would help an issue that it thought that I had. So, in all actuality, I guess that artificial intelligence was created to make humans' lives easier. And it's really doing a great job because because I bought the product. I've bought so many products that my phone just pitches to me that okay, you need this thing. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I did need that thing. Shit, you were right. God,
there was a piece of dandruff that landed on your camera and it couldn't see you anymore, and it was like, okay, we need to help this guy out.
Damn it, NSA. They're coming after me, man. Getting paranoid. See, that's what happens when you sit by yourself too long. And you sit by yourself and you talk to yourself like I do a lot, and then turn into a crazy person that you just think, where you just think like, shit, I wasn't talking to nobody. I know the motherfuckers is watching. Like, I know they are. They have to be. There's no other option. In my mind, there is no other option or what could have happened other than they were watching me. And I say the artificial intelligence, the robots, in my phone were watching me, and they said, I can help this guy. I know what he needs, and I can show it, and I can show you what you need. And I got the thing.
It's insane, man. It's a little bit scary, dude. It makes you, you kind of think, and it's hilarious because they even make movies that way. They're like, didn't Terminator teach us anything, blah, blah, blah. But really, like, sometimes you're like,
yeah, but really,
maybe they could be like,
how far off were they?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, at what point if we give it that artificial intelligence, and let's face it, like, we're talking about some of the stupid shit that, is going on nowadays.
Yeah.
There could be a point where this fucking artificial intelligence is like, okay, this planet has had enough. You know what I mean? It's time that we take this over.
What's funny is you're exactly right. A lot of people and I watch a lot of podcasts and a lot of content about artificial intelligence, and I was talking to Peter about it earlier tonight. Peter's a listener. I don't know if you know. I doubt you know Peter, Zach, but he's a regular listener, and we were talking about all the advances in artificial intelligence, and the main conclusion that a lot of content I've listened to says is that their main objective is to make humans' lives easier. So if you give artificial intelligence or a robot, for lack of a better term, a job to do, and it's like, we need you to get rid of cancer. Well, one really quick way to get rid of cancer is to kill all the people.
Yeah.
That's an option in their mind.
That's the simplest answer.
That's the simplest answer. Like, how do we do this? Well, if there weren't any people, then there wouldn't be any cancer. Well, they told us to eliminate cancer, so I guess that would do it, And
they didn't say how to eliminate it. They didn't say cure it. They said eliminate it.
Yeah. And
we
now,
need to get rid of cancer.
Obviously, there's going to be like, don't harm the human programmed into whatever artificial intelligence. But when you see this shit, these robots that are walking on four legs like a dog with an arm out there where the head should be, that can grab a door. And have you seen that shit?
Dude, I've seen that. Have you seen the one where the girl has a face and she has a name and dude, like, I'm like,
that
really,
shit's fucking creepy, man.
You guys have not seen the Terminator movies? Like, you guys have no, like, really?
That shit is creepy, and that's where we're headed. Now, here's a question. Now, you sounded like you were going into a thought, and I want you to finish it before I say this next thing.
No, just more or less, like I said. I mean, you said you see that girl and the whole thing, or the android. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you see, like she like she has I say she has emotions. Like she was able to make facial expressions that matched what she was trying to say, and like she was like, I don't. If I'm not mistaken, she was like, I don't know what that feels like, and then but the look on her face. Like she was able to make the facial expression for confusion. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know how to how can you make that face of confusion if you don't know what confusion is?
It's really, really creepy. How have you ever watched any episodes of Black Mirror?
No, I've been wanting to watch that show. I've been dying to watch that show, but every time I go to turn on Netflix, I end up turning on like Daredevil or something.
Yeah, well, you better do it because it's about to be gone.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
Yeah. So in Black Mirror, there is this episode where people's memory, like their consciousness, could be uploaded into a hard drive, and their consciousness uploaded into this hard drive would allow them to live forever. So long as this hard drive is plugged in, they're alive forever with all other consciousnesses that have been uploaded into said hard drive. So my question to you is, would you be the kind of person who is interested in living forever in your consciousness within this hard drive where you could do whatever you wanted to do? Do whatever you wanted to do in this hard drive. It's just your consciousness. Like you're living constantly in a dream world. Then it could be your own
Does it mean
paradise.
that I can speak to people or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean I would just be living for myself in this?
Yep. You would be you, but you would be living in a hard drive. Like you could alter your appearance. You could look like you when you were 23 years old if you want. Like it's like you could. You're like you're living in a Bitmoji, like you're an emoji basically, but you're your actual self, and you can be altered or changed in any way you want to be. Like you're in complete control of everything, but everybody else, it's not like you're like when you're in a dream world, you're the only one in it, and everything else is just in your consciousness. This would be where you and everybody else's consciousnesses were all together. So you're in a dream world technically, but everybody there is actually there.
So I could speak to the other consciousness, or I would be able to speak to like people that are alive.
Yeah, you would. It would be just like Earth. It would look and feel just like this life. It would look and feel just like this life, except it would go forever. It could be forever. And you can go anywhere you want to go.
That's a good question. You know what? I really don't know because I don't like. Granted, I feel like I don't feel like I offer enough to the human existence to live forever in a situation like that. But,
nonsense! Don't sell yourself short.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, in the grand scheme, now I'm not saying like I'm not saying that I don't do good. I just more or less mean like I don't see a reason for me to live forever. But at the same time, though, if I had that ability, that's a tough one. That's a really tough question. Like I'd have the ability, but at the same time, like, would I want to continue on with all these idiots?
Well, here's the thing. You have a kill switch that you can press at any time.
Take myself out or take other people out?
It's all you. You only have control of yourself. Everybody else is living in this world. Everybody else is living in this world for themselves as well. But you have a time. If you want to get out of the game, you can hit the kill switch and you can turn it all off. That's the thing. Like you have that. You have that ability. And it's in the show, in this episode of Black Mirror. And by the way, Black Mirror, the episodes aren't tied together. every episode is different, so you don't have to watch it in order at all. Like every
So it's like a
episode is new.
Twilight Zone kind of thing.
I
like
never
you
watched
just had
Twilight
it-
Zone, but I've heard the comparison a lot.
Okay, so like it's like an anthology series. It's not. It's not like a story arc.
Yeah, there's no storyline. The basic, well, I guess there is sort of a storyline. There's
There's a commonality to it,
Yes.
but not. You're not watching the same people and
Yes.
same characters. in
It's
every
not the
episode.
same. There's none of the same characters in each film, each episode.
Gotcha.
Everything is different. Every episode is brand new.
That makes me want to watch it even more now.
Yeah, every episode is brand new. You can literally read the description on an episode, and if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. I've watched all of them because they're great, but there's a few of them I could skip over if I do a rewatch. But
Yeah.
in this particular episode, it was an option that was given to people near death, like at the end of their lives, where you can, when you get to the end of your life, you go
Be
into this
uploaded
like,
and just go.
you basically, towards the end of your life, you get to put on this virtual reality. You get to put on this virtual reality headset, and you get to go and live in this world with all these other people. And then, whenever you get to the end of your life, if you want to actually, whenever you die, if you want to be uploaded into this universe, basically this digital universe, then you can be. So that you have the choice at the end of your life where you can say, okay, I've had enough. I'm just going to go ahead and dip from here. But if you haven't and you want to continue on, you can be uploaded, which is really fucking cool. I would do it. I think I would 100% do that.
Well, this is okay. So here is something, and this may be kind of a stupid thought. Not a stupid thought, but this may be kind of a goofy thought. But like one of my things, and one of the reasons I feel like I have panic attacks sometimes is like out of fear of death, is more or less like I don't know why, and this is gonna get ridiculous for a second, but I feel like there's something I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And you can call it religious, you can call it spiritual, you can call it whatever you want. Whatever it is that you want to call it. But I feel like there's something I was meant to do.
That you haven't fulfilled your destiny. You're not done yet.
Right. Yeah. Right now, it hasn't been done. So that, to me, I feel like I'm not ready to go. So I'll put it this way: if I was on my deathbed and I had that option, if I feel like I still hadn't fulfilled that yet, yeah, I'd go. Because I feel like I'd be like, I don't know, I have no idea what it is that I need to do, but whatever it is, I haven't done it yet. So
I feel like
see.
if I had the ability, if I possessed the ability at the end of my life to contain or continue producing cognitive thoughts, like if my brain stood up at the end and was still doing pretty good and my body was just failing me, I feel like I would be a fool to not allow my consciousness to be placed inside of a computer so that it could continue to thrive.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So, like, let's put in a hypothetical sense that this is real.
Yes.
And let's say Jimi Hendrix had the ability to go in there. Now, would Jimi Hendrix go in there and continue his consciousness from there, or would or wait a minute, I worded that badly, but I think you know where I'm going with this. Would he be able to
continue to release music?
Well, would he be able to continue to grow, or would he remain from that point and just stay there?
Well, that's the thing. If you like think about your brain and your ability, you can still learn things right now, correct?
Yeah.
Imagine if you just took your physical body's limitations away from that. Your brain would still.
I guess the way I'm thinking about it is let's face it, like if we had Jimi Hendrix's brain right now and he never learned anything past the point where he died, let's face it, he could still put out 15 more records that we would all love.
Easily.
But Like, do we get that, or do we get Jimi Hendrix 20, 30, 40 years later, what he's learned 40 years later, and get those records, or do we get what he would have put out with the knowledge he had then?
I think that we would get. I think that they would be still
You
hip
get
to
the
what's going
advance.
on. Yeah, no pun intended. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I think that he would get the entire experience of life as it changed, and now maybe that could be an option within this hypothetical Neverland that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be an option to where you could say, you know what? Do you want to know what's going on in the world right now? Do you want to know what's going on up there? You know, where everybody's still living and breathing oxygen. You know, where
You know what I would enjoy, and this is probably thinking way outside the box. But you know what I would enjoy?
what's that?
I would like to go into this simulator or whatever it is. I would like to go into this consciousness and be able to enjoy new music the way that people of the era enjoy it. Like right now, like let's
like hearing music on the radio right now with new ears.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hear it with the same ears that are enjoying it right now. And I mean, let's not. I don't mean to just put music on the stand, but that's music is my life, and same as you, you know. But I mean, hypothetically speaking, though, like, or the same with like movies and whatever. Like, people now, they get mad about all the remakes that are being done.
Yeah.
You know what? But there are people who are fucking loving these remakes.
Absolutely.
People who, there are people, there are younger people now that they see these remakes and they're like, oh my God, it's so much better than the original. Now, I don't want to go into a sense of thinking that it's better than the original, but I would like to be able to go into it and like it as much as these people do.
Yeah.
But still retain the content, but still retain the brain that I have.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to be able to look past.
I mean, now, granted, like, I mean, now I don't like a lot of new music. Now, granted, we talk about insane new music. I found the Drive-By Truckers and stuff like that, and that was newer music for me. But I'm like, this doesn't sound like what new popular music is. But let's face it, if I was 15 right now, Post Malone would probably be my favorite person in the world. But right now, I can't stand him. But I'd like to know what it sounds like through people who do like him.
We're finally getting to experience what our parents went through with our music.
Exactly.
God, isn't that fucking crazy?
It's absolutely weird. I swore, dude. I was always like, man, I dig new music. It's all good. But then it came to the point, I'm like, okay. Now things are starting to get a little weird.
The stuff that's come out over the last few years is just absolutely awful. This is actually a sort of a decent segue to the closing bit where we tell people the things that they need to watch and listen to. So, the new music that is out right now, out of everything that I'm hearing, I'm really listening to a lot of Vulfpeck, Vulfpeck.
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
A lot of Vulfpeck. I'll send you a link to some really good shit. But dude, this band is on a whole nother level than everything else that you're hearing that's coming out new right now. Are you listening to anything that's been somewhat recently released?
Nothing at all. Like, I never listen to the radio.
Same here.
I mean, I listen to Apple Music all day long. Like, whatever album it is that I'm in the mood for.
What have you been listening to the most lately?
Well, right now I've been listening to the Bad Religion Christmas album, that's just on repeat the holiday season every year. But I mean, and it's funny, man. One of the things about, I mean, and this is a little off topic, but one of the funniest things about that album for me is the fact that they didn't go in there and say, "God rest you, fucking Mary." They didn't do it. They stuck to every word, every harmony, every line. They stuck to everything, and And now they admit that they were laughing in the studio while they were recording or whatever. But I go back and I'm like, this hits me much harder than it did when I was in church with my mom and dad back in the day. Now, granted, I like the songs back in the day, but you know what I mean. Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
It hits me better. But anyway, but like I mean, for me, like I mean, dude, 9 times out of 10, if I'm listening to anything new, it's a new album from NoFX or Beverly. You know what I mean? Or it's a new album from an old band. Now, the newest band that I've taken a liking to is Greta Van Fleet, and let's face it, they sound just like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, so, I don't even give. I haven't even tried it just because of that fact.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, you would really like it. You would. I hate to admit it, but you would. But the thing is, the only thing about the difference between Greta Van Fleet and Led Zeppelin is Jimmy Page. I'm gonna say it on the air. Jimmy Page in real life is a sloppy guitar player, and he
really is.
And Plant, he's an amazing vocalist, but I mean, when you get him on stage, he wasn't hitting every single note the way he was supposed to be doing it, which is awesome.
Their studio albums were way greater than their live albums.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it put a realism to them. You know what I mean? It humanized him.
Yeah.
But now Greta Van Fleet sounded like, and I mean, it's not perfect. It's not. They don't. It's not all like the vocal pitch correctors and stuff like that. It's not like that. Like, they don't sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it just sounds like if Zeppelin went in and made that album.
I was just about to say,
nailed everything.
Greta Van Fleet is Led Zeppelin that had Led Zeppelin's entire catalog at the beginning of their career.
Yeah.
To listen to. Like, if Led Zeppelin would have had their entire catalog to play with at the beginning of their career, and they would have been like, oh, this is great. We should just do this.
Well, there's that, and if you had Led Zeppelin, if you had classic Led Zeppelin, like first album, if you had Led Zeppelin in today's studio.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's that raw. Now they capture a good, like, kind of raw feel, but it's just because of the style. They're not like, you know what I mean. It's good recordings. It's top quality.
Exactly. They didn't have that back then.
Exactly. You go in the studio back then, and there were no pitch correctors. There were no.
You had to play it right.
You can't move the kick drum over a little bit to make it fit in time. They were playing all raw.
God, man, people don't understand all the work that goes into that shit.
They really don't, man. And I mean, that's one of those things where I have so much fun with GarageBand, trying to, like, slow down tempos and stuff in the middle of a song, because, like, there's so many people that are like, you have to do a click track the whole time, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But there's certain times where the song may need to speed up a little bit here to emphasize, like, what's the mood in the middle of that song, you know, and stuff like that. But I don't know. Off topic, but
yeah, I get what you mean for sure. I've been Frankensteining some GarageBand shit here lately for the fishing show that me and Tyler and Noah and Adam are doing with brother Matt and shit. Who else is doing that with us? I know it's brother Matt and brother Michael. Somebody else is doing that with us. Who am I forgetting?
Which, speaking of GarageBand, on a side note here, thinking of some jingle stuff that I'm wanting to do. I was recently told that you are the top #1 man I need to get in touch with if I hit a block on my harmonies. Oh,
what kind of harmonies?
I just more or less I was working on this jingle the other day, and it turned out that the jingle contest that I was going for turned out that the ad that I saw was from 3 years ago. But anyway, I was trying to do this. Yeah, I know, but I was really excited about the jingle that I wrote, but I wanted this one part to have these extreme harmonies on it, and I came up with 2 harmonies, and I recorded them, and it sounded horrible. And then when I told somebody about it, they were like, "Well, why didn't you call Kelsey?" And I'm like, "I know Kelsey's got harmonies on him." I'm like, you know. They were like, "No, you don't understand. Kelsey is Kelsey is a Catholic church choir by himself."
These people are lying to you.
Nah, you know you got that on, yeah. And you know I'm a harmony guy myself, and every once in a while, you start trying to write some harmonies, and you hit a wall on a particular song, or at least I do, anyway.
I certainly appreciate the kind words, but yeah, anything you have, you send it over. I can lay something down for you. But I've been doing that a lot lately, man. Just right here, having the podcast studio set up all the time, where I can literally at any given time just sit down, cut my computer on, and start recording. That's the best gift that I've ever given myself, is the constant ability to record.
I got a new mic coming in on Monday.
What are you
I'm
getting?
really excited about it. It's God, I can't remember. It's like right now I've been using MXL 990.
Yeah.
The fat condenser mic.
Yeah.
Well, I've got another one coming in now. It's an MXL, and I can't remember the exact number on it, but it's an upgrade.
Is it like a round, like a bell mic, or is it like a condenser, like 2-sided?
It's a condenser mic. As far as I know, I think it's only one-sided, but actually the weird thing about it is it comes with its own pop filter that connects to the what do you call it? The holster that you put it in. So
yeah.
the shock mount. The shock mount.
Dude, I'm holding one up right now on YouTube. Dude, I use these right here. When I say these right here, you'll see. I use the Stellar Labs CM2250. As a matter of fact, a while ago, it was sitting over here, and I started messing around with it, and I kind of took it apart and sprayed some contact cleaner in it when we were talking about I can't remember what we might have been talking about Brett Kavanaugh or something at that time. But yeah, dude, these things are very inexpensive for the mic, and it comes in a shock mount, and obviously those MXPs.
MXL.
MXL, yeah.
It's made by Marshall.
Yeah, those are very good as well. Like those are
anything
that's going to come in a shock mount is good because.
Yeah, well, this thing it's only got like 7 reviews on it, but it's 5 stars across the board, and it was like $200, and everybody on there is like, you can use this for a home studio or a pro studio. Like it gives the punch, or it brings whatever you need. So you can use it for vocals, guitars, whatever. And I'm really excited about it coming in because I started doing this new acoustic guitar recording where I record 2 tracks at the same time. I do one plugged in and one mic.
That's the way to go, man.
While I'm playing the one track.
That's the way to go.
And it sounds so smooth, man. And I mean, it sounds really good on the mic that I have now, but the one that I got coming in, it's supposed to be like light years upgrade, even though it's only like $200. But even people are like the reviews are like, it's great for the money, and it's great whether it's about the money or not. They're like, this is amazing. So
you can, if you do some research and read some reviews, there's a lot of really, really high quality equipment that can be bought for very little dollars these days. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the quality I'm getting out of this stuff, and I haven't. Thankfully, I've spent maybe out of the entirety of this GoFundMe thing. I think I've spent maybe $150 out of pocket on everything that I've got, and that's mixer and computer and 2 microphones and 3 sets of headphones and.
Man, speaking of that, dude, actually, I gotta give some props to my wife today, dude. Today, I took my Alvarez to Guitar Center to get it fixed because I had, with the cold weather, my neck warped.
Yeah.
So I've been having some really dead frets and stuff.
Oh,
I took it in there today, And the guy, yeah, but the guy, I went in there today, and this dude was like, he's like, and he did, he took the truss rod and he messed with my neck. He's like, but look, he's like, what your problem is? He's like, is that, he's like, your body has sunken in. And he's like, you need to hydrate it, blah blah blah. Give me all this.
Get your humidifier.
Dude, yeah.
Yep.
So he told me all that, and then. So he's like, I'll take a look at it. And then as he was looking at it, me and my wife, we went into, I was just to go peek around. And I've been stuck on wanting a Martin for however long now because of yours and Daryl's guitar, the Martins that y'all have.
Oh, Adam's got a Martin. Mine's a Taylor.
Oh, that's right. Well, that really deep sound that the Martin had, that's what I really wanted. But I went in there, and they had one Martin that had that sound, but it wasn't electric, and it was a terrible color. And I'm like, well, I don't really know. Dude, I ended up turning around and finding a used fat body Alvarez.
Ooh.
With the electronics in it for $250.
Wow. Fishman?
We walked out. Dude, thanks to my wife, we walked out of that. We walked out of there with that guitar today.
Hell yeah, man!
Never been happier, dude.
Well done, Tammy.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this is the exact guitar that I wanted when I bought my original Alvarez. I just couldn't find it. The only difference is this one is a very, very blonde wood, and I wanted a black guitar. But this guitar, I'll send you a picture of it, dude. I'm telling you, you're gonna fall in love with it. It's insane, and it looks like the electronics were maybe manually put in, but I haven't plugged it in yet, but I'm absolutely stoked with the sound that I get from it right now, and I haven't even changed the strings on it yet.
Dude, that's awesome. Are you still doing the Elixirs, or are you doing D'Addarios?
Well, for the acoustic, I do I buy Martin strings. They always seem to last a little bit longer. Now, Adam was the one who needed the elixirs because he had such oily fingers.
Yeah,
and
he
needed to change his strings like every other day.
He never does now. He changes his strings like every month.
That sounds about right. But back then, dude.
Well, y'all were gigging a lot back then.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we were gigging, 3-4 times.
Yeah,
3-4 times a week.
He ain't doing that no more. Like since I'm doing solos, and me and Smitty are duos, and I'm doing American Sound and duos with Chip and stuff now. Like Adam gets plenty of time off these days.
By the way, dude, you guys sounded awesome when it was you and Chip and Bradley.
Really?
Dude, that sounded because, and I really, dude,
that was a fun gig, man. Listen, Bradley brings the heat.
And that's one of the things I'm gonna throw at Bradley right now. Bradley, I love you, dude, and I know, like, I do. Anytime I ever start a band, anytime when I was in Myrtle Beach, I wanted to start a band. Bradley was the first person I called because Bradley,
his energy is off the charts.
His energy is off the charts. He's usually, dude, 9.9 times out of 10. I would bring a song to the Beat Holes or whatever band we were doing. We had Sunday, different bands. But dude, anytime I would bring him a song and be like, this is what I'm thinking about here, like this, or here's this part. And Bradley would go to play, and he already started playing what was in my brain.
Dude.
Like, he was already on it before I even, gave him my idea for the drum part. Bradley's on top of it. We know Chip's just a bass, virtuoso.
Dude, yeah. Chip may very well be. I don't know if I want to finish this statement because it'll piss a lot of people off. Chip may very well be, and I know I haven't been playing with him for long. He may be my favorite. I don't know. I don't want to finish that because there's so many people I'm thinking about in my head that might get mad at me saying that. But dude, Chip he might be one of my favorite persons to play or sing with.
You gotta say, but you gotta say though, somebody may get mad at you, but let them come and listen to Chip play though, and play off a whim.
Exactly, man.
For that gig, right?
Dude, yeah, no practice or anything, man. It's because I'm the harmony person, like in Cornbread. Like I do, Smitty does melody. Smitty sings just melody. He can do octaves, but it's always the melody. You know, I'm doing all the harmonies, and it's nice when I get to back off and stay in a melody. And Chip never misses a harmony.
Yeah.
Like he is such a great harmony mind, and I really appreciate harmony singers because that's not the easiest thing to do.
Right.
You know, that's you know, melodies are checkers and harmonies are definitely wizard chess.
Yeah.
And dude, just God, he could be my favorite person to sing with.
Yeah, dude. Because like, and it's so funny because when I met Chip, he was the drummer of Dead Center, which was a punk band, a dark ska punk band, and yeah, he was good at drums. You know what I mean? He filled the part perfectly for that band.
Oh, absolutely.
But then, you know, people used to tell me, you know, he was a great bass player, you know, and I'm like, yeah. And then he started playing in a band with Adam, and he was playing bass, and I'm just like, where did this guy come from?
Monster.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, from when he came out with that playing bass, dude, he started playing bass with more people, and it's just like, where did this guy come from?
Dude, old Pork Chop is the truth. Pork Chop.
Oh yeah.
Old Chip Harrelson. He's the truth. He's the.
He really is.
It was him, and there's another guy, Tom Smith, another bass player who plays with the Mullets. Do you remember the Mullets?
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Tom Smith that plays with the Mullets is also an absolute monster on bass. And I'm thinking of people who I've played with regularly. Like I've definitely, and another guy, Charles Freeman, that played with 10 Toes Up. Stupid good bass player. I mean, just doesn't miss. Doesn't miss. But definitely Tom and Chip were two bass players I played a lot with. And Tom's just a little older, and he had some issues going down with something happened on a while back when he had to miss a few gigs in a row and some health issues, and ended up getting Chip to cover for him. And whenever I got Chip to come in, I was like, man, and Tom Smith blessed it. He was like, dude, Chip is a great bass player. Like, do that.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't know, man. Like when I play with Chip and Daryl, and even with Bradley was, dude, that gig at the pier was great, especially to have never practiced, to just show up and pull it off. Like
that's one of the things about Bradley. That's one of the things about Bradley that I love so much. Bradley plays off a feeling.
Yeah.
Like Bradley's not in there to be like, what's the count? What's the blah blah blah? Bradley's like, what song are we playing? You say it, and he's like, I've never heard of it. You're like, it goes like this. He's like, all right, I got this. And then he's on it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's in the pocket.
Yep.
Bradley is so in the pocket, and Bradley at the same time, Bradley shows you how much fun he's having. Like if you turn around and look at Bradley,
yeah, he's like sweating his ass off, like 2 or 3 shirts a gig. That's great, man. I ain't never seen nobody do nothing like that before. Yeah. Not on stage with me, dude. It was. I don't know. That was a good thing. You're lucky to have gotten to play with him so much, Brother Zach. I know it's getting up to time where you got to get off of here.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our couple hundred? Dude, we got a few hundred downloads a week happening these days, and YouTube's not doing bad, man. So we got about 100 people listening to every episode. So, do you have anything you'd like to say to these said 100 people? In closing,
final thought is be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Party on, dudes. Be excellent to each other.
That's right.
In a world full of people that are making decisions to be shitty people, don't be one of those people. Be a good person.
That's right. That's right.
You know what's that? What
There's
else is
no
funny?
need to be shitty to anybody.
No need to be shitty. What's funny is I never started recording the audio, so I'm gonna have to rip the audio from the video. So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, dude, I get to get done with this and just post this stuff, and then get to chill on the couch and Netflix it for the rest of the night. Nope.
Well, you can start the recording and then just kind of shut
Yeah.
the headphones down.
Yeah, you're right. But I like to listen to it, man. I like to listen back through the things to see how much of an ass I made of myself.
See if there's anything that needs editing out.
I don't edit them. I don't edit them at all
Nah,
anymore, man.
nah.
I'll let them go.
It's got to be raw.
Yep, indeed it does. But anyway, Brother Zach, good talk. I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
Always good to talk to you, man. I am going to do an intro here and get all of my my spiel out, so I get everybody to subscribe to everything. But I'm going to be tagging you in everything as soon as it starts coming out. So when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have a shitload of Facebook notifications from me. I'm going to apologize in advance.
It's all good, man. I'll make a couple extra posts myself.
Do that. What's the jingle?
Look out, jingles.
Look out, jingles. Look out,
I'll write
jingles.
I'll write you a little intro if you need. Not that you need it. I know you can do it, but you know.
Hell yeah, man! Do one. Let's throw. Why not? We'll throw on some extra shit. I've been using the same song since day one, man. Let's switch it up.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
All right, brother. Well, Brother Zach, once again, love you, buddy. Always good to talk to you.
Same to you, man. Love you too, man. I definitely let's not wait another 6 months for the next one.
Right. Absolutely. We'll be getting you back in here soon. I'll try to get you on here with Noah, and then when we start rolling with the Sunset Grill again.
Awesome, man.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Later.
Brother Zach Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Brother Zach Williams here. All right. So, yeah. Be good people. Don't be shitty. That's all I got for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Love you. Mean it. Peace, bitches. Intro time. Hey, guys. How you living? You doing well? Good. Glad to hear that. So I just got a pretty good bit of content on Brother Zach Williams. We're around the 90-minute mark, I think. We started off talking about how your cell phone's like constantly listen to you. And as we do, we started having a conversation, and it totally went off into another direction, and that's fine. I think the content is still fine. The content is still there for sure. But don't want to give you any spoilers, but Brett Kavanaugh's name was mentioned, as was Bill Cosby's. Baby, it's cold outside. We talked about Black Mirror and uploading your consciousness into a hard drive at the end of your life. All kinds of really, really weird shit there for a little bit, but it was all for good content, if you ask me. So also what I did was I screwed up and forgot to record audio in the beginning. So when we were like 20 or 30 minutes in, I realized I hadn't started recording audio. So now I'm going to take all the audio from the video that we have recorded. Thanks, YouTube, for being there. Thank you for being a friend, YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. See what I did there? That was corny, wasn't it? Who cares? Got to take the audio off of that, so that's going to take a bit longer before the audio gets released. YouTube people, if you're used to getting the audio, it might take a little bit longer than usual. So there's that. Also, please go to the Patreon page, go to the Facebook page, and like the Facebook page. Follow us on Patreon. You don't have to commit to a dollar amount to follow us on Patreon and get all of the information and all the things that we're talking about on there. Same deal with Facebook. Like us on the Facebook page. Follow us on the Instagram page, MI Stuff. Also on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, MI Stuff. I'm staying pretty active on all of these fronts as far as the social media goes. I'm trying to do my best at keeping all of the keeping all the information easily accessible for you guys and all the content to be easily accessible. I have a few links of some people that I saw tonight at the Scott Bird party. Also, I may be doing an episode in between this week with a few special guests. I'm not going to name any names yet, so be expecting some extra content coming to you between now and Wednesday. Let's see what else. The GoFundMe. Oh, by the way, I talked to Brother Peter today. Peter from Dead Dog. You guys know, a lot of my listeners know who Peter is, one of the smartest humans in the world. And I didn't ask you, Peter, but I'll consider this my formal invitation to actually get you into the podcast chair so we can record some of these great conversations that we have way too often. Not way too often. We have these conversations or not near as often as we should, but way too often is it the case that these conversations should be recorded because they're so good, is what I meant to say. But you know what I mean. Anyway, yes, like the Facebook page, like the Instagram page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, also on Patreon. Please do that. Please be on the lookout for extra content coming to you this week. Please go to our YouTube page and subscribe to all of the channels. Hit subscribe on all the fronts. There's links at the bottom of the page right now. Not right now if you're watching live, but there will be there in just a little bit. Click these links, hit subscribe, click the video, the link that's there for you. And I think that's it. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 86 of MI Stuff. Enjoy, motherfuckers.